Hello, Professor. My name is Sweedle and I am a part of Group 2. Our group will be presenting the HR strategies that we feel are most important to fight off recession. My group members are Anuj, Parvinder, Sweedle, myself, Jagdeep, Raghuveer, and Bikramjeet. In order to proceed with the presentation, I will be referring to the slides so that I have an easier flow of delivering the presentation. We will first try to understand what is recession. Recession by definition is a significant, widespread and prolonged downtime in economic activity. A very basic thumb rule to understand how and when a recession is oncoming is to check if the gross domestic product is recorded in negative for 2 consecutive quarters. If that is the scene, that means the entire economy has to brace for an oncoming recession. The measures to check the impact of a recession is through non-farm payrolls, industrial production, and retail sales. When we talk about non-farm payrolls, we are referring to the payrolls of the employees who do not belong to the farm or agricultural segments. In order to prevent recession from happening again, the economy has put in place fiscal and monetary policies as well. Because when recession does strike, the aftermath or the duration of the recession lasts for many years, which leads to a steady downward spiral of the economy. One HR takeaway that we need to understand from recession is that unemployment sustains through economic recovery. Early rebound feels like a prolonged recession. What we mean by this is even if the recession does come to an end for the economy in a theoretical aspect, when it comes to manpower, it is still an ongoing recession for them because it takes them a very long time to get back into the economy and contribute to the operations as they would before. Therefore, for them to fight off that gap of unemployment is almost like an aftermath of recession that has been something that we have been dealing with ever since economy has come into place. Early rebound feels like a prolonged recession. When we say early rebound, we mean that when employees are definitely taken back into the company, they are employed under the guise of an easy recruit. They aren't taken in as qualitative employees who can actually contribute to the market, which is why the growth is even more prolonged. So even though the economy is rebounding really well, the quality of the manpower also makes a huge difference. To understand how HR can contribute to the recession and prevent it from happening, we need to learn about the basic HR objectives. Maintaining a safe and secure and also an enabling positive environment for employees. Maintaining a steady flow of employees to ensure consistency. Training, research and development of the new, existing and elevated employees. Operate within the budget to ensure efficiency. Handling payroll, rostering, benefits, among other tasks. The impacts of recession of the hospitality sector. This is important to know so that we can view it from the HR perspective. Soaring attrition and let-off trends. Attrition is basically the number of employees who would leave the hotel or a company. During recession, these numbers skyrocket. Let-off trends are the employees who are let go on behalf of the company. Their departure was not voluntary. Decline in occupancy. Due to decline in occupancy, there aren't any rooms or restaurants to cater to, which means that the employees who are working in the hotel do not have a requirement to be there because we do not have guests to cater to. That inadvertently affects their rostering and they are cut off from required shifts. Stagnation in the market, which means there is no growth and there is no opportunity for a rebound anytime soon until the market catches up. Slashes in room prices to attract guests, which only means that a different set of guests would come to check in and have a different set of expectations from the hotel, which would cause huge pressures, stresses, and frustration among the workforce in order to meet those expectations and to deal with those guests. Deductions in salaries of employees in order to maintain them under employment even through recession, because companies would have a budget deficit. Drop in businesses and clients, waste of talent and productivity, lack of motivation and dedication in the staff due to the ongoing scenario. In terms of employees, these would be the following issues that would take place. Employees would either volunteer to resign or would be blatantly laid off, as discussed previously, along with a deducted salary to ensure that they still have the job, but they do not have the affordability of the previous salary offered. High rates of employee dissatisfaction would be displayed during exit interviews, stagnation in the growth and opportunities in the desired field, which would cause many employees to change their field or their career, which is also another aspect that HR needs to fight with. Distress and frustration was growing among the laid off employees as they were not being kept back with the company, which also leads to distrust with the company. Loss of time and productivity is another aspect. What we need to understand here is HR needs to maintain a balance in turnover. Now, what is attrition and what is turnover? Attrition is the reduction in the headcount. It merely records the number of employees who have left, whether it was voluntary or whether it was let off by the company. Turnover is the count of replacement for every reduction. To put it into example, if there were 10 employees who were let go or who left on their own, so the attrition amount is 10. But if the company was only able to hire 5 employees, your turnover rate is 5. So we have to reach the turnover rate to match the attrition rate. That is when it will be easier for the hotel to function. That is the aim of an HR, to focus on retention, which would ultimately reduce attrition, therefore eliminating a need for turnover. The measure of turnover is not necessarily good or bad. It is just a factorial measure to help the HR personnel understand where they are in terms of manpower. Now we will discuss the strategies that an HR personnel can put into place to ensure that they will be able to fight off recession. Firstly, they need to have a very strong benefits plan. Recession highly affects employees. Employees are people, and people run the business of hospitality. Without people, this business would not be able to run. Therefore, it is important for us to make sure that the employees we are hiring are aware that we have benefits that can back them up throughout, and that would help them stay with us and work with us longer. In order to do that, we need to understand that when we are coming up with a benefits plan, we need to also look at the big picture. Even if we're trying to meet the cost budget, we need to zoom out for easier guidance and understand our way forward. We also need to prioritize the organization's mission statement while we are designing the benefits plan. Considering the pros and cons of every benefit that we finalize on is also important. And lastly, pay transparency is one of the key factors when you inform them about the benefits plan. Custom plans. When we say custom plans, the deductions from an employee's salary, apart from the taxes which are mandatory, need to be personalized as per each client. By doing this, HR, believe it or not, will be more cost efficient as every employee will be investing their money. They would be aware of where their money is being invested in and would be even more beneficial for the company and the employee. This would make it a very employee specific step to take forward. Lastly, valuable perks. The parking and commuter transport are one of the most important valuable perks, considering that after COVID, not a lot of people would want to travel. Student loans assistance, since a lot of part time workers are mainly students that drive the economy. Paid parental guidance is also another aspect where a lot of families can then support themselves. You can also inform them of budget benefits and pay equity. Training and development. Training and development includes team building. Team building activities and sessions can help employees to learn to work with different people in different situations from different departments and cultures. While you are having team building activities, we must also recognize and acknowledge each employee who is participating in these activities to make them feel important. The more team building activities we have, that will be easier to break the ice between the team. Second is skill development. It empowers employees for the company to invest in their skills. It is also important to identify their strong points to make them feel seen and required. When you invest in their skills, the employees can then see how promisable and accountable you are towards them. We also provide them with training and accurate sessions that meet their requirement. The DEI factor, that's the last point, also stands for diversity, equity, and inclusion factor. When we have diverse people working in the team, it boosts our business. It leads to higher learning curve between the employees. It has a faster solution for different problems. It is also a comfortable environment to work with and generates better relationships between the members of the team. A foolproof recruitment plan is key because you need to understand how the gears have shifted from a business-centric to an employee-centric concept. Identification of essential skills and employees is also very important. Qualitative candidates would have an upper hand and therefore they need to have an offer letter in hand well before. The interview stage. During the interview stage, we need to listen to the candidate, ask them relevant questions, ensure the phone screening is on point, their skill tests are relevant to the job they're applying for, and their in-person presentation is assessed properly. People management. People management is the transactional employees who are being motivated and retained within the company. The clear and transparent communication between the team. They are also recognized and rewarded for their contributions. And with a structured onboarding and orientation, they would also have a better guidance towards retaining themselves within the company. Additional HR initiatives and strategies that can be implemented in order to keep employees towards them is job rotation. Most of the employees leave their current jobs during a recession is because they do not have the requirement or the ability to assist the company beyond their job description. Secondly, job rotation also helps the employee to understand how the complete loop of the department works. Every department works closely with a few other interdependent departments. Therefore, it widens the understanding of the operations. It also improves empathy and clarity of processes. And it also leads the employee to have the knowledge of how an entire process takes place. Therefore, he would be able to handle situations better. Skill investment. Many companies sponsor able employees to hone their skills so that they are able to contribute better into the hotel and are also valued at a higher stage. Future planning. Future planning are conducted for required job descriptions and not ancillary descriptions. What we mean by that is when a job description is put out, we need to ensure that the employee is hired based on his core skills that directly link to the requirement of the job that has been put out. If we are only hiring employees based on their resume without a proper interview, it could lead to a huge disparity, because we need to verify if the resume details match with his verbal information as well. These are the references that we have during our entire research, and we hope that you liked the presentation and the strategies that we came up with for our presentation, and we look forward to hearing the feedback from you. Thank you.